welcome to our program. Today we are visiting the exhibition Identity on the Line. This exhibition is one of the outcomes of a 4-year research project on immigration and identity. Let's check it out. Hi Sven.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you doing today?
I am doing very well.
Yes, let's hope it stays like that with the weather also. So what do you want to show us today? What is Identity on the Line about?
Yes, I would like to show you our outside exhibition. It's a joint exhibition with partners from 7 countries. It's called Identity on the Line. And the exhibition is about migration and identity. And we have 7 different national cases. And then we have a lot of interviews with informants, and we have taken some themes out from all these interviews.
So there's like small themes inside the
small
exhibition?
Themes, yeah, and the cases, the national cases are very different. Okay. But I'll show you that in the exhibition. Mm-hmm. It has been standing here on the harbour of Aarhus for 2 months now, and also during the festival week, and so we're quite excited. And this is the last day it's standing. So tomorrow we will take it apart, and it will be moving to Poland, where it'll be standing for also 2 months.
So it's like touring the partner countries.
Exactly. Yeah.
So which countries are involved in the project?
I can show you some of the partners that was involved. Mm-hmm. But it started. The exhibition started in Slovenia. And then it moved to Croatia, and then Norway, and then it skipped Sweden, and then it went to Denmark, and then it's Poland and Lithuania in the end. Okay. And this is the
representatives of the countries,
which we've been working on the project.
Okay.
Interviewing informants and engaging with them. And working. And we started in 2019. And it's going on for 4 years, this project. So and now we're in 22, and so next year it'll be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did this collaboration happen? Why did you choose these countries? Was it an open call? How was the project itself born?
Well, the original idea came from Vester Akta Museum in Norway, and Denmark. We were involved quite quickly. And we discussed how this project could become a reality, and then getting involved with different partners, and then we made one. We approached the European Union, the Creative Europe program, and applied for support for this project, because we thought that it was very important and that it fit very nicely into the ideas of the European Union and Creative Europe. Mm-hmm. And the first thing was rejected, but they said it was a very good project, so we changed it a little bit, and we had some new partners involved, and now we are these 7 countries.
Okay. So this was not like exactly the original idea?
It's very close, but we just had to elaborate on some of the cases and focus some more on some parts and less on some other parts.
So you had the big migration team before, that was the first thing, and then you went for the partners, or did the team develop with the partners?
The partners we are now, they came together for the last application, but the theme and the idea of working with immigration and identity, and especially tough stories, things that are hard to talk about and things that are often kept secret and hidden. And that was the most important thing to get out in the open, because some of the things we learned was that the secrets are much more damaging than the truth. And so we have had some incredible interviews with informants, and they have trusted us and shared their stories. And these stories are what the whole project is based on, and this exhibition, but also different kinds of other materials that we are producing from this project. Okay. So we have some articles, we have school material, and we have online. All this is online, and there are several other materials also.
And this is all based in the same interviews, and all from that raw content. We have 170 something informants that have delivered. Yeah, and it wasn't just short, small interviews. It was some of them were 3, 4, 5 hours. Like really in depth,
really intense and very emotional, because they were talking about their experience, their history, what they have grown up with. So it was very personal, and we're really deeply grateful to our informants. So the idea is that we are trying to approach these very difficult issues, and have our informants share their experiences and their stories with us. And out of all these interviews came some themes that arose from these stories.
So the small themes were after the interviews?
Exactly. So they came after we had done the interviews, and we could see that there were some similarities, even though the national cases, and I will show you around in them, but they're very different. But some of the themes still were the same. And this is what actually became into this exhibition and shaped actually the whole project, because these informants, they actually shared a lot of feelings and thoughts about their situation.
And how did you get to these informants? Were the partners already in touch with these people? Like, how did you also have an open call?
That happened in also very different ways, because all the cases are very different. And when we come to the different countries, maybe I can talk a little bit about it. But in Denmark, we had more or less an open call. We approached the Greenlandic houses, the 4 Greenlandic houses in Denmark, and through them we asked if people would like to be a part of the project. And share their stories about being a Greenlander in Denmark, and that was the case for the Danish part.
Okay, and this idea started in Norway, right? Do you happen to know why immigration was the topic?
Well, the project leader, she has been working very much with tough stories and difficult stories, and so that was the main driver. And to try to expand that and see if there was some kind of common European experience in all this, even though the history of the different European countries were so different, and the cases were so different. And it turned out that that was actually the case. So this is really underlying the value of listening and talking to people, and get a lot of different and difficult stories out in the open.
Okay. What has the feedback been so far? Have you had any kind of feedback from people, other partners?
And it has been very positive, very, very positive. And what we hear a lot is that finally, from the informants, finally my story is being told with respect. And what we also see is people who experience the exhibition and finding in themselves similarities from their lives, are getting like a sense of that they're not alone, that they can relate to what they're seeing, and because it is so tough stories, it actually eases their mind a bit. So that is also the feedback we are getting, that it's very nice to see that people don't have to feel alone,
even if it's tough stories.
Even it's very tough stories. Yes, exactly.
Okay, and about the length of the project, so it's 4 years. Did you know already from the beginning that it was going to be 4 years, or was it maybe delayed somehow because of the pandemic? How was the situation?
The project is, we knew it was going to be 4 years. I think when we started, we didn't, because none of us has tried a project like this before. We didn't know actually what that meant. But 4 years together with the same beautiful people working hard on these issues, it's a long time, but it's also very giving, because you get to know each other, You get to know each other's stories also. But in the same time, a lot can happen in 4 years. And as you mentioned, the COVID-19 situation is just none of us could have expected that. And it came just after we started the project. And because the idea was to meet people, to meet our informants, that of course delayed a lot of stuff. But we have 4 years, and so we managed, and we worked us through it. And some of the interviews has been done online. That was not very optimal, but it worked.
It was, what could do.
And so we tried to get the best out of it. A part of the project was also that we should meet. All the partners should meet in all the different partner countries, and we couldn't do that during the pandemic because of the lockdown. So now we're doing it in a different manner, and we are meeting up the next time, and the last time we're going out to see each other as we're going to Poland and then Lithuania on the same trip. So we had to adjust, and just a couple of months ago we were in Sweden, in Jokkmokk, in northern Sweden, and then in Denmark. So we try to do it like that instead.
And how does it feel, because it's going to end next year, which is like in 6 months? No, not 6, 4, 4 months, right? It's at the beginning of the year, or is it?
No, it's in the middle of it. So
so it's like 1 year kind of left.
But now we are going to finalize all the stuff we've been working with for so long. This is a pleasure to having this exhibition in Denmark, and knowing that it's going to travel still around to the next two partners. And then we have school materials that we're going to introduce, and we are also working very hard on finalizing that. And we have some articles coming out, and and actually just a couple of weeks ago, we were told that we were the recipients of the European Museum Academy Prize, a very special prize. So that came on top of everything.
Congratulations.
So thank you. And so we are very happy, but it's also a lot of things is going on right now. So
are you happy with the results so far? Like, has this met your expectations? Has it been better than what you were expecting?
What is so interesting, I think, with this kind of project is that it is 4 years, and we had some ideas, I think, when we started, but everything has been done in cooperation, and we have discussed everything, and we had to agree on how to make things work, and so I don't think anything was as we expected when we started, but we're very pleased, and we're pleased with all the projects. We have also made some films.
There's like with the interviews?
With some of the quotes from the interviews, and with the case studies of the national cases. So we have a long 45-minute movie with all the cases, and then we have small 5-minute movies with our national cases.
That is
and you can see them also
nice,
online. So we're slowly putting them online, so for everybody to see them. So, and they supplement the interviews and to give the background stories for these cases.
Why did you decide to have so many like different medias of showing the results of your research? You have the exhibition, the videos, online things. The school materials
to reach out as broadly as we can. That's the idea, and some of the Creative Europe they really looked upon that and said that was a good thing. And we are also very active on the social media platforms, trying to reach as many as possible. And as we understand, people are very happy to get these insights and see it. So we're just trying to reach out as much as possible.
And so these people are the coordinators, right? Are these the only people that are involved in the project? Or how many people were involved in the project? Because that seems a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. But this is more or less the core employees. And of course, there's been some changes because, again, 4 years is a long time, and we have been working on now for 3 years. So people have left the project, and new people have joined. So, but this is more or less the core of the people which has been working together from the beginning.
Okay. So how many, do you know like an estimate how many people were involved in the project or are currently involved in the project?
Yeah, but now it is these, well, we already have 12, so it's about maybe 10, 15 people, which have been the core employees in this and working on the project. Mm-hmm. And then of course all the informants and all our other partners, like for instance the Greenlandic houses. In Denmark we have this joint exhibition and then we have a national exhibition, only with the national case.
Okay. And so more in depth, specifically
on the specific topic of Greenlanders living in Denmark.
Okay.
And we opened that national exhibition in the Immigrant Museum in Farum in Sjælland, and then we took it to the Greenlandic house here in Aarhus, and now it's going to Copenhagen, and then going to Odense, and then Aalborg. So there's a lot of different platforms and a lot of different products which we are working with on this in the same time. Yeah. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, you seem very, very happy with the result. It's really nice to see. Okay, so I think.
So this is the welcome part of the exhibition. So this is the introduction, and you can see some of the main concepts that we are working with. So this is, for instance, stuff like hope and hopelessness, longing, belonging, alienation, and this is all things that came up through the interviews. Yeah. So we have taken these concepts and we have try to identify these topics in the interviews and then draw quotes for people to see in this exhibition.
Yeah. And it's like it's really curious that there are a lot of concepts here that are kind of the opposite.
Yeah, and that is because this is human life. So and so you're constantly moving in contrasts. So that was also both. You could be happy about it and also a little bit sad because there's this changing interchangeability between these. I don't know how to explain it, but between these concepts, and we found that actually in many of the in many of the interviews, that even in the most hopeless of situations, you found some hope, because I think that's very human, and it comes through in many of the interviews, and it's quite strong. And I think everybody can relate to that, because that's how it is. Yeah, that is life. That is life. So, but maybe if we go to the other side of this, these panels. This is more or less the quintessence of the exhibition, home and away, because much of what we're talking about is about migration and identity. Yeah. And so when you're talking about home and away, and we're working with Greenlanders in Denmark, many of them being born and raised in Denmark, but still feeling that they are not home, some of them at least, and that they are actually away, or that Greenland is away and Denmark is home, but they're perceived as being from Greenland. So these odd conflicts is something that we meet all the time. And so what we have done is that we have asked our informants just to move the interviews, to ask them to bring an object, because most of us are museum people, so we like artifacts and objects. And so from these objects they could tell their story, and that was it turned out to be a very good way to just get involved in their stories, their personal stories. And so this is some of the artifacts that some of the informants brought.
And this is what is in the exhibition, or did they?
No, because
just pictures.
Hit by COVID, amongst other things, and also because it was very complicated to actually have real artifacts traveling around Europe. So in some of the national exhibitions, there are artifacts, the original artifacts. We chose in Denmark to have a traveling exhibition, so just for make it more smooth. We only have, like here, pictures of the artifacts, and we can see them later. So, but here we have taken some of the quotes from many of the interviews and try to explain how people think when they think about home, and they think about being away from that home, whatever that might be.
Okay. So you didn't ask directly, like, what is home for you? You took the object and you made their own version of the concept appear from
the objects
story.
were like an
a
opening,
trigger kind of.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But we actually have the exact same questionnaire. So we agreed in the project that we would ask our informants the same things in the same order.
Yeah.
And of course, because some of the interviews were 5 hours, there was a lot of other stuff were being talked about. But we had the structure that was the same for all the countries and for all the interviews. And again, we are working with the perceptions of Greenlanders, how they see Denmark and how they feel living in Denmark. But we have also very different stories about forced migration, about people during the war, different wars actually. And so even though the stories are so different, some of the feelings are the same, as I think I've said before. Yeah.
So are these questions here some of the questions that you asked?
Yeah, that's the main concept of the questions that we asked. And so it's very open questions. It's not yes or no questions. It's how do you feel? How do you see? How do you experience? And so it again opened up for longer conversations with informants.
Yeah, this seems like extremely deep. Deep questions. No wonder that some interviews took 5 hours.
And some of the answers was also very broad, but some of them, as we can see here, talking about her mother sitting with a doll in her living room. So very, very small, specific things that was very personal to this informant, and something that she has been remembering for her whole life.
It is that picture, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so the idea here is that the pictures are numbered and the numbers relate to the quotes, and so it makes sense in that way. Yeah.
Okay, and this is the general structure?
This is the general structure for all the panels, and here in Denmark there's a Danish part and an English part. And so when it was in Norway, it was an English part and a Norwegian part. So when we take it apart tomorrow, the Danish part will be taken out, and the Polish part, because it's going to Poland, will be joining the exhibition and being assembled. Yeah.
Okay. I have another question that I forgot to ask before. Is there a particular reason or why this is the exhibition is organized in this way?
It is. We're trying to work in these themes. So and it's also because it has to be practical, and we have to be able to move it so many times. So we have had a design team working on this. How would it work best? And some of the things, and you can see the panels it's very open, and it's also the idea of openness in the themes. So
everything is thought about. Nothing is random.
No. Okay. Nothing is random. The only thing that actually challenged this exhibition was that it was going to stand right here. Close it's so windy.
Yeah.
And so we had to add some extra weights to it. But that's the only thing actually we had to adjust. But no, there's nothing that is coincidental. And these open structures, and you can see through them, and you can see through the panels to different panels. And it symbolizes the idea of openness also. Yeah.
It's the same concept with the nets, or like this.
Yeah. But and it's also, of course, a design thing.
Because this can also be seen as a trap, right?
It can, and yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's up to, of course, the visitors to think about this.
So it has like both feelings if you look for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we go to the next one?
Yes, let's do that. And the next theme that we have here is belonging, and that is, of course, a very nice and good feeling. And then on the opposite side of belonging, we have alienation. So being estranged from the place where you are, and Yeah, and all the national cases have the same experiences. So we have from all the national cases different stories, of course, of these, because they intermingle in the same
Yeah,
interviews.
it's all it's very connected.
Yeah, and again from the Greenlandic and Danish side, there's a lot of quite strong quotes and statements from our informants, and this is one of, I think, I was the Dane who was not a real Dane, so that was the experience. So, and the idea was that when this informant were trying to see oneself as you see yourself, and then constantly meeting all the surroundings, seeing you as a different person, and the tough challenge in that, and that happens every day, and so that's a constant reminder of that maybe you're not who you think you are, but you know who you are, and so this this challenge every day.
Is there any quote that really stuck with you, or that maybe really changed your way of perceiving a specific issue? Was there something like that for you?
I think exactly this one of being this quote that I just pointed out, also because I have myself Greenlandic family, and they are experiencing some of the same things.
Yeah. So it's like close.
So it was close to me, and it became quite emotional, and that the whole project for me is like that. Yeah, and also getting an insight into the other countries' cases actually makes you think very different of other people, and other people are not other people because they're your fellow. Yeah.
It's more than that. It's just not a person.
Exactly.
There's a whole story.
Yeah, and that is, I think, maybe one of the most important things that we can explain with this exhibition, that you don't understand who you are standing in front of unless you're open and are able to listen and understand what this other person are bringing from her or his past and experiences. So openness and a positive approach to other people is one of the main messages from this exhibition.
And this part I'm seeing from the questions is also a lot about identity, right?
Yeah.
As what you were saying.
Yeah, but because identity.
But this is not only inside this migration concept, right? It's more deep, or
exactly.
is it like so related that you cannot really separate it?
Yeah, that's actually the case. But the idea was also that we wanted the informants to try to explain how they perceive themselves. How did their identity become what they think it is, or how they see themselves, and trying to get it out. Because these are individuals, as we are all, and to have our visitors reflect on that we are all individuals. There's not just one big group of some of those guys over there or something like that. They are all individuals, and just to have them put words on that, I think makes the case even stronger. And also in this identity, because the migration part of the interviews defines or opens up for a very tough story, then their identities are also, of course, made out of that. And so that makes it even more interesting to then hear how do they see themselves and how do they perceive their own identity.
That was it for this program, but stay tuned for the next one. In the meantime, don't forget to check our Facebook page, BURT, for updates on our schedules and programs. See you soon.